Hello, everybody. Welcome to Lunch with Linda. I'm Linda Daniels, and you are now inside Northampton Wools. Are any of you melting yet? I'm sure most of you are in air conditioning of one sort or another, and usually that's the reason why knitters and crocheters can still knit and crochet on a day like this, because we're not outside and we're not going outside. But we're going to sit in that air conditioning or in front of that fan and be able to work on our stuff, because it's way too hot to mow the lawn or do anything other than jump in a pool if you are so lucky. So hopefully you've got some knitting ready to go. This last week we were very busy with a lot of people traveling to see us. I couldn't believe the number of people on Thursday and Friday that came in and said that they were from someplace else and drove here just to see Northampton Wools. They weren't coming to Northampton for anything else. That was pretty amazing and very touching. We had somebody that came from the Cape, somebody that came from New York City, somebody that came from the coastline in Connecticut, and they all found what they needed or what they were looking for, and that was really good, because at this time of year it's not always guaranteed that we have full inventory of everything, but that was really something special. So it's nice to see that our reach is growing almost every single week. Even this weekend we got a number of orders in from online that were one was from Oklahoma, one was from Michigan, and a couple from Connecticut. So thank you all for that. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for coming. Thank you for driving all of that way. And if you do come from far, Northampton is a really great place, not only to shop, but to eat. Whether you are looking for something small and delicious, like the waffles from Berry and Batter, or Go Berry up the street now is open, and very shortly we're going to be back in business with a deli, Lichter and Levine, or Levin. I'm not sure. There's no E at the end, so I'm not sure how they pronounce it. I'll have to ask Willa later today. A real Jewish deli opening up. And that should be a real treat for everybody in town. They are doing a great job of promoting themselves. They sent sandwiches and those black and white cookies and things up to the Greenfield Riverfest for the people that were working there this weekend. And I was up there this weekend as well. I was there on Saturday and Sunday morning. They have a campground attached to the music festival, and the campground is filled with kids, and so they try to offer some sort of craft or activity on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday morning from like 9 to 11 to sort of keep the kids amused and help the parents get their days going. And so what I did and have done for a number of years is I brought supplies for them to make friendship bracelets. And the nice thing about that is that if you are 8 or older, you probably already know how to do it, because it's something that I think if you've ever gone to camp, it's one of the main things that they teach at camp. Almost every single little girl that was there already knew how to do it, and the boys that came learned very quickly. And it was a fun little project. And instead of always doing it with embroidery floss, I brought thicker cotton yarn from the store in lots of bright colors, and that meant that kids as young as 5 were able to learn to tie the knot. It's a basic, simple knot, and make something that resembled some kind of friendship bracelet. On Sunday morning, it was, we had that little bit of rain, and it was off to a little bit of a slow start, but there were 2 adults that sat down and wanted to learn, and they did not know how to do it. And they were adults that were, in 50, 60 years old. And one of them was a woman and her partner was a man, and he also wanted to learn. So they chose their yarn and I got them started on it. And what struck me, this man in talking is a house builder, so he's used to using his hands, but he was having trouble with this fine motor coordination. It took him a minute to learn exactly how to do the knot and to see what the progression was. But once he got it, after about 10 minutes of tying these simple knots, he looked up at me and he said, "This is so incredibly soothing and settling. I understand why people are coming and doing this." And I was like, man, that is just exactly what I keep saying. Find that craft, the knitting, crochet, tying friendship bracelet knots. When we ended up having a bit of a discussion about why that happens, why with all of the technology that's in our lives, why creating something, no matter what it is, seems to be so important to everybody now. And I think because he was a builder outside, and that is his job, he wasn't quite understanding what the disconnect between having technology in our life so much and actually making things was. It took him a while to understand exactly what I was saying, but he finally did. Well, they both sat there the entire 2 hours and happily finished their friendship bracelets. So it was really an interesting morning, but that's what I did over the weekend. And if you've never been to the Greenfield Riverfest, it is an absolutely mind-blowing music festival with music from far and wide. And the only drawback is that you really need to be prepared for being out in the field in the sun, because it was hot, which is why I'm kind of red all over the place, because I was not completely prepared to spend the whole day there. Anyway, that was the weekend. One of our visitors from New York City was talking to me about knitting that she does and how she knits in the car often, and how she measures her knitting time, her project. And I thought it was really interesting, so I wanted to share it with you. This is from Lori. Hi. She said she watches every week. She said instead of measuring her knitting in time, like how long does it take her to make something, she travels a lot, and she said she's now measuring it in terms of miles. So how many miles does it take her? Is it a trip from New York City to Vermont? Is it a trip from New York City to New Jersey? She measures how long it takes her in terms of miles. So it's nice if you have somebody to drive for you and you don't have to try to do both. Please don't at the same time. Exactly. Well, with these self-driving cars, it's not that far away. If they can sleep when they're supposed to be driving, we can knit, right?
Yeah.
Or crochet.
I'm gonna order a knitting car.
Oh my gosh. Actually, she said she travels to visit family a lot, so she's not trying to do both. I also, last week, showed you the cairns, the cotton and acrylic yarn that we have downstairs. And I took a skein of this color, and I showed you the easy summer scarf, and I mentioned that I might start it. Well, I not only started it, but I finished it. And I wanted to tell you that this is the simplest, easiest little piece that I've knit in a very, very long time. You can get the pattern on Ravelry. It's the Easy Summer Scarf. It is free. It's one skein of the cairns made this shawl.
It was free up till yesterday.
Oh, it's not free anymore. Okay, that's right. It was the 22nd. All right, well, hopefully you listened to me last week and got it. Otherwise, you're going to have to pay for it. This, not only is it garter stitch, once you get past the initial increases, like the first 20 rows, it's just a 2-row pattern. One skein, 2-row pattern, easy to memorize, easy to see where you are. And these wedges, because it's knit basically from here increasing, 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 and then binding off. So they are actually like a triangle, but when you bind off,
Looks like an L.
it the end of that, this is the bind off row, the end of that bind off row makes the other side of the triangle. So everybody thinks that you have knit a triangle, that you have to increase and decrease, and you do not. You simply increase and then bind off, but you get this great shape. Now this is one of the heavier cottons, but it's going to look great with one of the jewel pins or brooch that you may have yourself, just a little bit around your neck. Now, it's hard to think about wearing anything like this in weather like this, but we're going to cool off and the nights are going to come. And again, you're in air conditioning almost everywhere you go, and it can be a little bit much. I would not necessarily tie this around because that's when it gets hot. When it's right up against your neck, right in like that, then it can feel like it's too much. So you want to just keep it kind of loose, and you can pin it or tuck it in. And then you're set. You're all set. So that's one skein of cairns, and this is the color that I did this one in. Oh man, Waitomo Caves. They have the strangest names, but they're all places. Does cairns mean caves?
I don't know.
It sort of has that feel. Because all of the names, because I was looking this morning, because we sold a couple online, they're all places, but they're not places I know, so I bet they're all strange.
Does anybody know what it means?
Does anybody know? It's Waitomo Caves.
Well, that we know is a place, but cairns.
Or is it burial grounds?
Maybe.
Keep hydrated. We did get a new yarn, and I should say get is in quotation marks because what we actually did was found one of the new yarns that we had gotten in a long time ago and said it's too early to put this out because it is a cotton and hemp blend, and then we found it again. And that is this Apex. Ooh.
It's burial grounds and a type of dog.
Oh, thank you. This is called Apex. There's the name right there. And look at these great, great colors. Wow, look at that one. So this is one of those gradient yarns. It moves from color to color. It's not a mishmash of color. And like I said, it is 76% cotton and the rest is hemp. That gives it a very dry feel. It's perfect for crochet. I did, and this is called Fire and Ice. The pattern is on Ravelry, and I think that is a free pattern as well. And it is a crocheted pattern. Now, I went ahead and started this on our way up to the festival the other morning, and I didn't bring the pattern with me, but I knew what it was. It's basically, again, just 2 rows. You do 1 row of double crochet, and you do 1 row of double crochet with a chain between the stitches, and you go until it's so big, and then you start to decrease, and that's what I lost track of.
Oh.
So it didn't come out quite as finished as it should. I think I actually ended up being a little bit too wide because I wasn't counting the stitches. But you can see how the gradient works in this crochet, and I think that's really pretty. This still is very usable, and I was showing Kate how I would just tie the short end around the fat end like that and just wear it like that. There are 1,000,001 different ways that you can wear it, but what I thought after it was done is how I would make the next one. So it starts with this really nice rounded edge, and I would take the skein and start from the middle and start this side and work this way. for good, what is about 12 to 14 inches. Then I would stop that in its crochet, so it's just one stitch on hold, and take the other end from the outside and make the start again and work towards the center, so that now you have two pieces working towards the center. You'll use up all the yarn and you'll be able to join them together, and it'll be perfect. You'll get the right size. No more guessing. Where's the middle? When do I start decreasing? How is it going to turn out? Am I going to have enough? Because I was almost there, and I sure didn't want to, and I know you wouldn't want to get a whole nother skein just to finish off one little corner. So that's my tip for that. Work from the outside in one direction, work from the inside in the other direction. They'll meet in the middle. You don't even have to cut the yarn, and join them when you're down to that last couple of yards of yarn. But this feels wonderful. I have not blocked this or washed this, but it's still very soft. Look how crunchy that is. It just scrunches right up like that.
It's not crunchy, it's
Not,
scrunchy.
it's scrunchy.
It's soft.
Yeah, it's not hard at all. And sometimes hemp can sort of feel like linen. It can be a little bit more rough, but this one is really, really nice. So that's one skein of Apex, which is new on the shelf, not necessarily new in the store. Whew. Now, I showed you the Hera from Earth Yarns because we were doing the class, and I wanted to show you my progress in the bright, bright color.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that pretty? So this is their rainbow color, and this one is the 84 stitches. When you go to purchase the Hera scarf pattern, there are two. One is done with 120 stitches, and one, it says Hera something PDF underneath. You have to click on that to download the 84 stitch pattern. That's this. Now Eileen finished the one that I gave her when we went to the show, and this one is the original 120 stitches. Hold your breath, hold on to your seats, because this is incredible. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? So the main difference is that it's 120 stitches, but the eyes, the short row part is bigger than in the 84 stitches. It's the same kind of process. This is incredible. You have to come in and feel and see this in person, because it's just beautiful. We've hung it up in the window. We'll have it up in the window again. And it's so beautiful that, and so deliciously big.
Wow, you can see it even better that way.
It's definitely shawl material. I'm going to do another class. So there are people that took the first class that might be stumbling a little bit and need a refresh. And maybe this will convince some of you others that this really is something you want to try. So I haven't put it on the website yet, but I'm going to do that today. And that's going to be on Saturday, July 12th from 10:30 to 12:30. We'll do another Hera class. So I'll post that today. This is Eileen's, at this size, is 3 skeins of the unique fingering. And when people took the last class, we talked a lot about, is it going to take as many? And having seen this with the 3 skeins, she did have just a little bit left, that you'll be able to do the 84 stitches in a scarf size in just 2 skeins. We are getting, and that's why I pushed the class out a little bit, we have an order, a restock of all of the colors of the unique fingering because we sold out of some of them. So that will be coming in hopefully this week, in plenty of time before the class for you to make your color choice, get it wound up, and get ready to go. It really is a fun class, and you can try it on your own. But in the class, I really tried to give you all of those big picture tips This is what you need to see in order to know where you are. This is what you need to see in the short row process. So look for that class later on today if you are all interested in creating an incredibly beautiful piece. At the same time, one of the other cowls that I saw at the show was from Trendsetter. That's not right. Where'd it go? Okay, this is I thought I had the pattern out here. This is the Filioli cowl. Yeah. And it's knit with two colors, one of which is the gazelle, the wool star, and you can compare that with the fingering weight harvest. So here's gazelle in all of its stupendous color. This is a hand-dyed merino wool, and when I saw it, I just fell in love with it. It's such a dramatic but easy to knit piece. I have such a pile of everything here. I don't know why that pattern isn't here, because it should have been. All right. Filoli, I think is how it's spelled. We have it. Yeah, Filoli. One skein of each of your two contrasting colors. In order to make this scarf work, you need a sharp contrast. You would not want to do it out of colors that are the same or close to the same, or out of a multicolor with a solid color. You want two solid colors that are really, really high contrast, like this black and orange, like this blue and purple. Any of those really high contrast yarns are going to make it great. It's a lightweight. Now the pattern calls for a DK weight, and we did it, because I saw it, in a fingering weight, and what a difference it makes. Eileen was a little bit panicked that it wasn't going to be big enough, but once it was blocked, it's perfect, and it's light. So nice and light, but still warm. And it's one of those triangles that then gets connected, sewn together in the back right here to make that cowl so that it slips on. I think it's the perfect size, and I love that line. Really, really love it. So this is another thing that Eileen finished. Thank you so much, Eileen. So we'll now have that in the window as well. Yeah. Whew. Oh my gosh. We have put on sale three other actually yarns that I want to tell you about as we continue our semi-annual clearance sale. And one of them is this, what you saw me knitting. It's the Alpaca 3. We don't have a lot left.
Well, we have plenty for hats.
We do. We don't have a lot of colors left, and we don't have a big inventory of them. But this is 50% alpaca and 50% wool, and it is a chainette yarn. So it isn't twisted together. It looks like it's already spun. When we first got this yarn, I did this Vineyard hat out of it. It's just a slouch hat with no ribbing. It just is done on a slightly smaller needle so that it hugs your head and it doesn't fall off. And that's what I'm starting. I'm doing another one out of the orange because we have a lot of that orange left. But these are the colors that are left right now, and this hat takes just one skein. Now this wasn't an expensive yarn to begin with. It was only $12 a skein, which is a really good price for a alpaca and wool blend, and it has about 130 yards, plenty for a hat, especially a big slouch hat. It was $12 and we've marked it down to $9, so this is going to go fast. This is the time to make that stuff, those things, those items that you want to have on hand to gift or ready to wear for the fall and the winter. So that's what we've got. And I know we only have one skein of this light gray. So you'll want to, whoever wants that light gray, jump on it because it's not going to last very, very long. That's one of the yarns that we put on sale. The other one is the VIP. This is a lighter weight yarn. Oh, by the way, this is done on a size 10 needle. The VIP from Lanagato is a super fine merino. And this is 80% superfine merino and 20% cashmere. So this is one of our cashmere blends, and it's going to be done on like a size 5 needle. It was $20 a skein. Now it's $15. We have a lot of it. We have 2 baskets full of it. This is a great fingerless mitt yarn. There's enough in colors to make a vest if you wanted to do a fine weight, fine gauge vest. Probably even a multicolor sweater if you were looking at fingering weight sweater patterns on Ravelry. It would be stunning. And of course, it's going to make a really great Sophie scarf, of course, and any kind of regular scarf as well. One of the people that came in this week was Roxanne, who is a really great customer and student of ours. And she started to tell me a story about her husband. She was playing around with some knitting, and she said that her husband said to her that he thought she was getting better at her knitting. And she was a little bit surprised that he had even paid attention to it, and said, "What do you mean?" And he said, "You're making great looking things." So he's noticed an improvement in the finished product as well as the things that she's actually knitting. He said he thought they looked more involved than they had been in the past. And her answer to him was that, yeah, she did feel more adventurous and like she was willing to try more things. And he said yes. And the other thing is that I hear you say you can always go and ask Linda. I got a great big kick out of that the husbands are out there, and you know who you are encouraging their wives, but also knowing that we're here to help solve all of those problems so that the knitting doesn't go flying across the room, right? Ugh, I don't want that to happen to anybody. One last sale yarn that I want to tell you about, because we got a new shipment from Entropy DK. This is from Feederbrook Farm, and the Entropy DK is 100% blue flace Leicester. This is a yarn that we've carried for a while. It is very similar to Spin Cycle. The color is amazing in each and every skein. And Lisa Westra, who owns Feederbrook Farm, does it all. She raises every single animal that is used to create this. They harvest it, they spin it, then she dyes it, then she plies it. It is, from beginning to end, all her baby. And she has come out this year with some incredible colors, which I'm going to show you quickly. These are some, not all, because we couldn't carry all. These are some of the new colors that she has produced. Look at that color. And how fun is this one? And if you didn't think pink would go with orange, we got another thing to tell you, because it does. This great green, and this beauty, this is one of the originals. That's called Jewel. But it's not like Jewel, it's Joel.
Like the science word.
Yeah, they're all named on science. Okay, brand new shipment of that stuff in. But we had some skeins from the old inventory left, this many. And we've decided to go ahead and mark these down to $20 instead of $32. So it's first come, first served. These are all that's left of the old inventory. We will honor that sale price on this stuff because some of these colors she discontinued and isn't making anymore, and some of them, the new version of it, like this and this, is just so much more lively and alive. So we've got these in a basket on the shelf. You can take a look at them when you come in. There's enough yarn in them. It's 260 yards. That's plenty of yarn to do a great big hat or a scarf or even a pair of mittens if you want. And the way that yarn knits up, it's so colorful. This is a yarn that you can use in place of spin cycle for Andrea Mowry's shift, any of the shift patterns, the shawl, the cowl. It works really well in that as well, combined with a solid color yarn. So let me check my notes. I think that's everything I've got for you guys today. Watch for the Hera Class because it is a beauty and it's a lot of fun to do. So even though it's hot, it's going to cool off and you're going to be sitting in the air conditioning, so you better go knit something. Bye.